power hour flow and charts. It's been a wild day today so far. If you're new to this, feel free to drop any tickers you want me to take a peek at. We'll kind of look at the market tide, take a look at Periscope. I do want to start with our 3-tracked flow alerts today here. So we had Intel, Path, and Rocket Lab come in here. Intel made a good intraday move here. So here's our flow. Let's take a peek at these. Intel coming in here. Again, you just see that IV rising when that flow comes in. Spot is filling at the ask. Looked pretty textbook at the time. And we got a quick little move on those from 90 up to 117. Chopped it at that 117 from about 9:20 a.m. till about 9:50, 10 o'clock-ish there. So plenty of time to secure some profits on that one. Path, these are just finally moving here. Little drop here when they came in, but they are trading now near the high of the day there. Looks like they just closed at 41 there, so significantly up from that 33. Good entry on those. Rocket Lab, still waiting on this one. Obviously got some time on these, 32 days on those. A lot of put premium coming in on this one. Looking at the flow as well here. Again, IV spikes when it comes in. Spot is filling at the ask. Entire way up. We look pretty good there. So that could take a little bit to play out there. We'll have to see. Got 32 days on those. But those are a couple of the tracked flow alerts from today. That SPY flow from Friday made a significant pop there. Looks like that whale's probably getting out here at the ask. There, I would double check this open interest tomorrow, but my guess is this will probably, drop here. And then those AMD puts from Friday, they're trying to come back here a little bit. Some time on those, but that gap up today just kind of, obviously, people probably aren't expecting a big gap up all the time, but that news this morning caused the gap up, so this whale looks to still be in. No big changes or anything. Let's see what's going on Periscope right now. We are sitting right under this heavy negative 66.25 negative gamma. These are, looks like they're short calls here. Got a couple long calls above that, but big area of short calls here. And then we do have some long calls here at that 6600. It looks like we might kind of chop in this little between this 6600 and the 66.25 possibly for the rest of the day. You do have call premiums up, put premiums also climbing very slowly throughout the day here. So just something to kind of keep an eye on there. Market tide right now, still pretty bullish here. You did have a little bearish pickup here, but for the most part we are still sitting bullish overall. All call premiums and out of the money only call premiums are sitting ask side. Anything above a 0 is considered ask side, and anything below 0 bid side, which would be them essentially selling those. But our out of the money puts are slightly ask side here, and all puts are bid side there. So we have a nice strong bullish market tide. A lot of call volume coming in here as well too. Tesla, Nvidia, SPY, QQQ, your main contributors to that. MU, GLD, and SNDK contributors to the put premium there. Other than that, it's a pretty bullish looking market tide there. So kind of touched on market tide there. Again, we'll keep an eye on Periscope here. This will change. I still have this on that 0-day expiration here, but I'm thinking we're gonna probably finish between that 6600 and that 6630. And we also, I have 2 Periscopes open. And then we also touched on our 3 trades here as well for today. So a lot coming in today on that flow feed here. It's a lot just hitting the feed at open and just trying to be kind of cautious right now. A lot can be coming out of this. You heard Iran or Trump say that they have a ceasefire going on with Iran and they're working on a deal, and then Iran comes out and says no, they're not. So it's mixed signals that we're getting. you don't know who to listen to, you don't know who to believe, so you just got to kind of go with what's coming out at the time. But we are starting to kind of see some puts tail in here. I'm just kind of watching now. We got the 3 tracked alerts on right now. And 2 of them already significantly paid us. So I mean, we don't need to force anything else for the day. Yeah, those paths, I actually got a nice handful of those, and I'm gonna have to check those out before we get closer to the stream. And then Intel again, could move up on those. But these rocket labs I really like here too. You're getting a good little divergence on that net put premium and call premium there. So definitely something to keep an eye on. Again, plenty of time on those. But what else do we got coming in here? So these, oh yeah, the flow feed has been very active today. So it's just trying to catch up on everything. So we're just gonna kind of work our way down here, unless anybody has any requests they want me to take a peek at. But we're just gonna kind of work our way down. SLB puts that just hit the tape here. Yeah, it's the flow was really it's there was a lot of call flow at open. Obviously, people trying to chase the move. Then you had put flow come in, and then the market kind of dropped a little. Just kind of an odd day. And then you have that news that pumps us up almost 2% pre-market. I I did take some of those. Geez, why am I blanking? I'm ready for a nap. Those path calls there, but that's all I really kind of took there, just because I was also doing whale watch as well. So I'm not the best at trading live there. Um, that C flow was really interesting. We can take a peek at that here too. Let's look at this SLB stuff here quick. So you got put premiums kind of climbing now, call premiums dropping. Definitely opening volume here, 938 contracts against 8 open interests. I don't think so. Being they're not, it doesn't look like they're if they're connected, they would say that multi-leg. Those look like fresh openers on those rocket laps. We can go back and take a peek at those too. Let me let's do this quick here. So the SLBs here. Where am I going? Where am I going? Here we go. So the SLBs, not very. There's obviously some time in between here, but that IV technically kind of decreases when it comes in from that prior flow. Spot is filling at the ask here again. Just kind of one of those pieces of flow. Doesn't overlap earnings. IV drops, but it kind of stays the same here. Again, something that I'd probably throw in that risky flow there. That timing is, I mean, pretty much far apart where you're not too concerned about that IV drop, but again, just something I'd throw in that risky flow. It's not 100% textbook for me. I do want to go to those rocket labs there. Then we'll touch on those. See, yeah, so when you're looking at that, like, so I don't see there's another multi-leg trade related to this. You would know for sure they're rolling. Like if we go and look at Rocket Lab here, like you do have it would be connected if they're rolling them though. Like this would be considered a single leg opener here. So we were looking at the what was it, the 424.55, 424.55. So like these yeah, no, everything you take in as much data as possible. So these are those 4-day out ones. Yeah, these again, they're not saying they're multi-leg, so I wouldn't consider them rolls at all. There, if it was, you would see this probably more than likely at the bid there, and then that multi-leg would be about 100% there. It's only 5%, but yeah, no, you just never fully know. It's smart that it gives you a little pause and you can kind of take a peek there. Um, yeah, it's definitely odd. I think these look like openers too on the week, so they wouldn't be really rolling anything. Again, let's see what do we got here. 20 or 2,000 contracts there against 985. So it's definitely opening volume here on this chain. And then you have another one here, that 327.67, and that one, again, a very low multi-leg there, out of the money, 3%. And curious here because those got a big move there, and now they're underwater again. I wonder how the flow actually looks. Let's go in here, take a peek. So I mean, I would read these as a buy kind of right away. I'm just seeing where we start here. So some bid side action at the beginning here, but our IV spikes here. Spot is filling at the ask. We look good that whole way up. Spot fills at the ask the entire time. A little timing there. Yeah, I mean, I would read these as a buy too. And I mean, if you would have took those at the same time, I mean, very fast move up on those, and you just never know. I mean, 3% out of the money, they got some time on those. Just very odd flow, just a very odd kind of days. Just that gap up in the morning, just kind of, I don't want to say gives me an uneasy feeling, but you know, I'm just kind of mostly hands off on those really big gap up days, and then you have mixed signals via the news and all that, and it's just like, it's better to kind of just maybe hang back a little bit. Let's go find that C flow, because that was actually really good flow that caught there before we hopped off. So see, it was those 25 days. These let's go in here. So I mean, these look pretty good here, pretty good. You get an ascending fill. IV rises that entire time. Spot price increases. That's where you get the ascending fill. I would read this as a buy. Obviously, plenty of time on those 25 days. Little discount right now. Um, again, just kind of something where you might be able to get a better entry with us being up 2% there. Yeah, a lot of that, a lot of the flow today, I kind of just look at it and I'm just, it's not super exciting, or it doesn't really stick out that well to me. There's just not the best looking day. Yeah, and it's hard to kind of, I always say chase the move up. Like, we're already up. Nobody probably really wants to open shorts right now. Then nobody really wants to keep chasing the move. And if they do, it's just a very small position size. And it's one of those days just to kind of, take in stride and be very selective. And that's why I've been selective on the risky flow too. There's just nothing that, like, interesting there. And then even like these GLD puts here, like, you see them all coming in at the ask, but look at our candle, mostly at the bid there, and that is a hefty amount of premium on these. These almost, let's see. Let's take a look at these. These were a little too messy earlier for me, but take a peek. So they all come in at that 10.25. I need to remove this. So they all start coming in at that 10. Come on, let me go to that, back to that page. So okay, we are starting to see that flow kind of come in. Looks like that 10.55.20. So just keep an eye on that IV, and you just see how it's already bouncing all over the place. Your fills are also kind of all over the place here. Yeah, you just see IV comes up, drops. Again, very odd looking fills, just bid ask, almost no in between either on these, just a couple in betweens. But then here we come at the ask again. Your IVs rising, technically IVs increasing, spot prices increasing, and increases up there. And then we'll come back to that first page. Where were we? Okay, let me go back here. This is a little goofy here. A little goofy on this one. Yeah, IV's up, and then you see it kind of drop again here. I almost would say they're probably short puts here, just with that IV decreasing, just bouncing all over the place. And then you have your big size and big premium here, and IV drop there. I probably would lean that these are potentially short puts there. Getting too much noise on that one, but that is a massive amount of volume on this one. Let's see the one that you sent me here. CRM here. Ooh, see, and like some of these you can get a nice little discount on them too. Sometimes. All right, let's take a peek at these. So these, okay, this is in our first trade on the day. Let's go here. So, okay, IV spikes when it comes in. It's saying it's an ascending fill. Let's go back this to the first page. Okay, I gotta click back. Sometimes I hate clicking between pages. Sometimes there's just so much data that it can get a little fussy. So okay, 47.89, so 48.92. Spot is filling at that ask. It's an ascending fill. Just kind of keeping an eye on this here. Yeah, I mean, I would read this as buy too. Definitely, definitely reads just like it. 4 days on them. Block can happen within that amount of time. They are just slightly down right now. So yeah, tech has been getting absolutely blasted. Absolutely blasted. That is one. Yeah, I mean, just all year too, just software names have just been getting destroyed. Um, I thought I saw some more SoFi earlier too. I've been getting some puts. Oh, not lately. I mean, little while ago. Yeah, I think I saw some last week too. Excuse me. Oh man, I am tired, man. It's a Monday of Mondays for me. No, no, you're never boring me. I promise. You are never boring me. I think the 2 streams a day thing gets me a little tired too. And the whale watch one, just because you're on camera too, and I'm just like here at least I can just kind of zone out and just look. I don't have to look pretty for those. How about these AMD puts that hit? So you 2300 there, another 1997 there. I would double. I want to double check this one because it's originally came in at 475 and now they are that 581. I would want to double check and make sure they're not exiting at the ask here. Would want to double check that open interest tomorrow. If we don't have any other big volume here, I'd like to see that stay around maybe that 5,700 to 6,000 contracts. But my guess is this person could possibly be taking profits there. What else do we got? Avgo puts hitting the tape here. And I'm a lot of the names too that are coming in. You're seeing a lot of premium in one of the directions, and then you're just seeing kind of that inverse flow. So I'm just being very cautious with the trades that are getting put out right now. Let's take a peek at these. Let's go to that first page. So IV spikes when they come in. It's a descending fill, but let's just kind of see if we can find that 56.50. So it looks like small little drop there, 1 penny below. So that is kind of a sizable amount of premium there. I want to see how much this was again. 474K. So 20K out of that, it's not massive, but it's still a decent little part of that. So we'll just keep that in mind. Let's just see how the rest of the flow looks here. Another drop here, so total of 35K. That's slightly below the ask there. We come back up, and then you see some more IV drop in here, then a little rise as well. I would almost be willing to not touch these. These could be potentially short. How far are these out of the night? 5%, 18 days. I tend to stay away from the closer to the money for premium selling, but that tape just not the best with that IV kind of dropping and decreasing there. So let's see what else we got here. QBTS. So definitely opening volume coming in here today. Let's just so 2225, little 779, 1800, and then 1300. I would oh, excuse me. Oh man, that's the second big one. Click on the lines icon. Swervy lines icon. These? What do you mean swervy lines? The right hand corner. Oh, okay. I was like, what are you talking about? Swervy lines. So, just kind of looking at this here. So, most of that just coming in here. Ivy's at that 8608. We are filling a little more on the bid side here. Got that visualization there. And the Ivy's kind of dropping, but your spot price is rising. Then another little IV decrease on big size and big premium there. We are at the ask though. And then let's see another so IV increase there. Yeah, this is definitely one that would like to revisit because it's giving you all the signs of that spot increasing. It's essentially an ascending fill there. But then your IV is kind of decreasing throughout the whole thing. So again, yeah, no, this is one that would again be kind of that risky flow area there, and I would I would like to lean there probably buy to open on those. I just don't like that IV kind of all over the place there. But yeah, definitely would check. Yeah, and no, the open interest too. Just you do have some smaller kind of candles after that big whale there. I would assume they're not all the same size, so I would assume that it's probably gonna carry over. Again, you can assume and kind of do that and just kind of guess, but that's a good thing to always confirm there, especially when you have that other candles. Who is pinging me in the chat? Oh, okay. I gotta read this here. I was like, who is pinging me? And I don't see a thing. Okay, yeah, that's good there. Yeah, no, good find there again. There too being another interesting one. I like the interesting ones like that because they're always good learning lessons on like, oh hey, this is like what happened, and it always proves to be a good example. Like I hope those QBTSs just rocket because then again that's a good example that hey, just because the IV was bouncing around doesn't always mean that it's gonna be bad flow. Yeah, and the mix. I know you hear me talk about it all the time. Like if it's a mixed signal, I will always I will always find another piece of flow that is actually perfect for me. So yeah, it's sorry I had a text there. I have somebody coming over to work on a shed tomorrow, and I'm trying to communicate nicely with them. Um, Geez, we were just getting slammed there. Yes, yeah, no, it's nice to kind of see the flow and just how it plays out when it doesn't match your criteria. So let's look at these PDD calls that came in. Earnings flow though, so we got earnings in 2 days, so probably nothing of super big interest here. Let's just see how that earnings moves on PDD here. Man, that flow went from absolutely dry flow for the last like week to just boatload of flow today, and I kind of like those slower weeks because it might be boring, but man, when you have all this flow coming in, it can, I don't want to say overwhelming, but there's just so much that you're looking at and trying to keep up with. Um, dude, that's actually funny because I had McDonald's last week too, and I got the nuggets and they gave me burgers on accident, and I was like, what the hell? So maybe you got my nuggets and I got your freaking burgers. I, I'm not a fan of McDonald's burgers. Never have really been a fan of McDonald's burgers. Um, so PDD now, kind of looking at the earnings there. Yeah, I mean, historically, it's kind of mixed. Most recently, though, you're seeing a lot of that implied move to the downside there, and then you did hit that implied move a couple times to the upside previously, but history is not really, or previous history is not really favoring that. And you do get an average move about 1.5% there. However, these after moves look there. Yeah, I mean, most recently not very good, so I don't think I would be trying to swing. Where'd they go? Those calls over into earnings there. Yeah, you just see how much flow is coming in compared to our normal amount. SEDG, a little prior open interest on these. Again, this is one that you would have to double check that. No, you wouldn't. So looks like we had 4,300 open on 12/19. They held those. Looks like passed them off to somebody else there on 226. And then today's volume, who knows? I would. Where'd that 43? So, oh, it dropped off. I was like, where did that 43 added? No, that 43 dropped off. So this, I mean, 1,200 contracts. I mean, very close to that overall open interest. Probably will carry over. Again, just something I'd be very cautious with. Let's look at our flow. So it looks good here. So some previous flow here about the same timing. You can just hear these dings just constantly hitting here. I mean, this is what it's been like all day, and it's just like, geez, give me a break. So Ivy spikes when that comes in. Spots filling at the ask here. Little Ivy drop. Another little Ivy drop there. And then Ivy spikes here, and then it kind of drops off at the end. Yeah, some kind of coin flip mixed flow there on those. Yeah, this thing is just absolutely non-stop. How about these Delta Airline puts? Again, earnings flow here. Dang, we already got airline earnings coming up soon. Oh, I feel like we just got done with earnings season. Delta, Delta, Delta. So 12. Okay, so we just have one contract before that. So Ivy kind of technically drops there, coming off a little multi-leg, not related, it looks like. Ivy drops, spots at the ask. Does overlap earnings. How do our earnings look on this? Earnings, earnings, earnings. Yeah, average move of 1.75%. We do tend to stay in that implied move, so probably stay away from something like that. Alright, what else? What else? What else? WFC. Yeah, it's that flow was it was good at open, but again, I was still very cautious, just taking anything on gap up. Like, you can't just chase calls at open. It's, yeah, in and out quick, in and out quick. Let's go look at Periscope, see if that's changed at all. So we're looking at that 6600 and that 6630 here. So we are, I'm assuming, again, we'll see where we finish. A lot can happen here in the next 30 minutes, but seems like we want to kind of finish maybe around this positive gamma between that 6625 that we were looking at with those short calls there. Let's see how much did that shrink there. So it's still a lot of short calls there at that 6625. You got long calls at 6600. You do have some longer puts down here, but I don't think we're gonna. I mean, you have to break a big low there and make a big new low on the day. How's tomorrow's expiration looking? So we are, again, how are we positioned? Let's kind of take a peek. So they do have some positioning up and a little positioning down here. So I kind of almost have this as a range right now, that 65.25 to that 66.70, which that range, obviously you're seeing a bigger range there due to the gap up, and then you got people positioning their trades, so on. So it's a kind of a wider gap there. How do our all expirations kind of look in here? So we're sitting on short calls and short puts right now. So this is, it's a big gamma spot here, big gamma spot, and we just expanded a little bit more too. Let's go back to the 0DT and take a peek at that. And that gives me a chance to get a drink here too. So you can see kind of how that price, we were dropping down here, and now you just see, I mean, that positive gamma typically will act as a price suppressant here. So this is, you're seeing that price kind of chop here. Now, it's a little late in the day for me, but if I was trading here and still seeing good positive net call premium on the tide, I would probably be looking to grab a call here, maybe for a quick scalp. You want to see that price accelerate through that negative gamma, so they are kind of short calls, but it's not a lot. You got more short calls up here at that 66.25, so maybe if I was trying to take this, I'd trade this up to that 6600 to that 66.25, because you do have some long calls up here as well too, but too late in the day for me to kind of take anything like that. Theta is just very aggressive at this time. Very long-term IREN puts coming in here. Let's take a peek at these at the money. Definitely opening volume. Not the best looking tape here with that IV kind of dropping there. 42, 59. Yeah, these are not looking the best there. Let's see. Bean. Let's see, what else do we got going? Man, it's just not much, and Tide hasn't really flinched that much there. Just calls still sitting ask side. Out of the money, puts only are sitting ask side, but all puts are still bid side. So I mean, this is just kind of a little choppier market tide now there. Still bullish, still technically bullish. I want to see where we finish. I'm really hoping we finish between that 6600 and the 6625 there, just so we can kind of nail that there. Man, this Monday went by pretty quick though. Pretty fast Monday, which is nice. Because I did not sleep that good last night. So you know who is going to sleep early tonight? It's going to be me. Okay. What do we have for flow coming in? Still nothing really. Let's go take a peek here. My path calls haven't hit there. Yeah, I need to switch that. I need to switch that. I don't know why people have access to do that. I think I did it because there was one person that wanted to do a little show in here once, and I think I let him do it, and I was just like, whatever. I just never switched it back. I'll have to change that at some point there. I think you have to I think you have to ask for permission though. I don't know. I don't have I don't have a problem if people come up and talk and stuff, but it's just like when there's so many people in there and they're just all talking over each other. I'm just like, no. That's kind of what I tried to make that traders lounge for instead. Is just kind of you want to hang out and talk to each other and stuff. Like go for it in there. Um, yeah, I need to put a stop on my path calls here quick. So give me like 1 second here. I'm gonna actually take profit on these. Just be done for the day. Let's see. Because they're still up. Yeah, I don't want to swing anything overnight if I don't have to. Alright, I gotta stop on. I took that a little after it came in there. I came back from lunch and I saw they were kind of down a little bit and I took them. I didn't take the 12-5 call. I usually take a different strike. Yeah, these came in at these were a where are you? 10:34 Central Time there. So I came back from lunch and I was like, hey, they're down a little bit, and I really like that flow. And yeah, I didn't take the 12.5 call. I usually don't take the strike that I call out just because different sizing and all that. So I'm no. I wish but yeah, no, I usually don't take the strike that the whale took. I usually take closer to the money or like at the money. And if I'm calling out a contract, I don't like people to, try to find what I'm trading. um, DB, the 515.28 put 4% out of the money. And I'm not trying to like inflate the contract either. Like if I am buying like a decent size position, like I don't want to inflate it for others and all that. So I am not a penny pumper. I am not a penny pumper at all. So sorry to disappoint. So IV spikes when these come in. We are getting a descending fill. Looks like it's one contract there. Then you got 10 there. Just kind of all over the place. Oh, there's another yawn. These could be short puts because that IV drops again there at the end. 4% out of the money. I just don't like the very close at the money selling puts and or calls. Just I like seeing the very far out of the money where more than likely it's something that will expire worthless. These are definitely interesting though, and these are 11% of the total premium. Do we overlap earnings? Oh yes, we do. So we do indeed. We're going here, so we bounce slightly on that one. ADM. ADMA. Yeah, not the best looking fill right away. That's kind of why I ignore that one. But wow, that thing just waterfalled there. And these already, I'm going to tell you, I would not have read these as a buy. Where you see that kind of IV drop once that flow comes in, and this is only minute later. So I mean that IV's up, and you kind of see that IV drop. Spot's filling up the ask again. IV drops again. IV drops again. Yeah, that's at face value, I wouldn't probably be looking at these as a buy to open anyways, and then you're already down 4% on the day, 5% out of the money. Yeah, I mean something like this again would have ended up in that risky flow there. What else? So yeah, Periscope, we are just chopping kind of where we've assumed we'd chop there. So that 6600, we're staying above those long calls, but we're not getting really above that 6625. Just kind of a lot of short calls in this little spot here too. I don't think I've ever looked at that chart. ADMA. Don't think I've ever looked at that chart. ADMA. Oh, some pharmaceutical company it looks like. Biopharm. Yeah, I'm not a big fan of trading like pharmaceuticals, but this I wonder if those are short puts. That chart would actually make a little more sense if it was short puts here, because if we just kind of look where we are right now, just kind of build that out. We filled that lower gap there, and I mean it's bounced out of this position or this price every other time, so that would make sense for those to be some short puts possibly. That is definitely something interesting. I mean, this is actually a very clean kind of looking one here. Bounce out, tried to retest, bounce, tried to retest, bounce, small little retest, bounce, bounce out of there, bounce, bounce. What happens here? Little more of that downside gap here to that 1233, it looks like. It's at 1233, but we did fill that first kind of gap there, so I would definitely kind of be watching that one. You got a big gap down here too, 689 to 770. That is a big gap down there. Big gap down there. That's also 48% drop if you had to get to that. Yeah, it's such an odd one. That's definitely, I mean, one of those interesting ones you could go back, kind of look at there, and just kind of looking at the weekly here too. Yeah, it's a very similar looking chart there. Yeah, that might be an interesting one to kind of go back and see how that flow plays out, because that was the 417.13 put. I almost want to think there's short puts there. Just kind of looking at that chart there too. 5% out of the money. How does that theta look on that contract? Let's see. So, I mean, this is a very, very nice looking contract, though. I mean, if this is what you want to see in a contract, if you're buying a contract, I mean, this is a very strong delta, very low theta. Yeah, that's a toughie one there where that flow, and we kind of looked at it too here. I mean, that IV is just kind of all over the place. Decreases. Well, we have to have a yang counter in here next time. Um, yeah, that IV decreases, and oh, dude, I have not had any caffeine today. I've had my water. That is it. I am absolutely just, my eyes are just ready for a nap there, and I don't know if Hank's behind me taking a nap, so nope, he went upstairs. He's done with me. Yeah, I am probably gonna get something to drink after this. I need some caffeine if I'm gonna have to do all of our numbers tonight again too. Oh. How about these course puts here? 417.15 put. Just again, one with a lot of open interest already. This volume here looks like it's opening volume for sure. 3,800 contracts. I would assume most of this is going to probably carry over. These might be interesting. Don't overlap earnings. See how much of this carries over tomorrow, just to confirm though. But yeah, nice IV spike there. Spot fills at the ask. Yeah, these look good here. If this volume carries over into tomorrow, I would say I like these. Because your premiums are still sitting bid side. You're not really seeing a lot of call participation. 4% of that total premium. Yeah, definitely oh, it was the cores there. Yeah, definitely interesting there. All right, what are we doing here coming into close? So are we coming? Oh, we are coming back up to. Oh, it was the. I was like, oh no, we broke my level where I thought we were gonna sit. So I'm watching that 6625. So we bounced off that 6600, which was long calls there. So that is a reasonable expectation. They want their calls to probably expire in the money. And then you've got your short puts up here, which they would want to, or short calls that would expire out of the money. Were these? Did I just say these were short puts that entire time? Did something change there? No, short calls. I think I was talking right there. We were just talking about the negative gamma. So that is short calls up there. So that, man, I wonder if we rip into the last 10 minutes here and then as long as those calls expire out of the money, though, they're happy, though. You go on Whale Watch, can you ask Nick if they will make a video on how to use the polymorph? Yeah, I'll ask them. I'll be on Wednesday again. Just remind me Wednesday morning to ask because I will tomorrow if I'm like working with that contractor to actually I'm just gonna take a screenshot and I'm gonna post it in the thing here. Let's see. All right. I'm just gonna tag him in this and I'm just gonna throw it into our chat right now. 1 second here. Let's see. Yeah, because I am not a big sports bettor and all that stuff there. Okay, back to the chart here. So yeah, I don't think we'll finish above that 66.25 because yeah, that's the short calls there. Yeah, no problem. Yeah, if you need me to ask him something, feel free to always ask me because I'm always blabbing with them. 6-8. We could actually. Why don't we go look at that polymarket tool just for some fun? So this, yeah, I haven't really looked at it either that much to kind of give you like a full like analysis on it. So unusual markets. So I think this is just it's pulling your most unusual names here. So I'm just kind of looking there. So whales. So it looks like it's telling you kind of. Then you can pull in that full analysis too. This is yeah. I haven't honestly looked at this too much. But yeah, it's interesting. You can see that whale trade in there. Top holders there. Yeah, that's interesting. Oh, it just populated some more there. Oh boy. Yeah, there's a lot in here. Let's see. Whales, yes. Whales, no. Hmm. Yeah, I think a video would be very good for this. Oh crap. Let me go back. Sorry. Then you got smart money, so you can look at that top trades. Insiders. Let's just kind of look. Yeah, that's it's interesting just how they do all this stuff. Yeah, I would yeah, I think a video would be great there. Yeah, just lots of little kind of U.S. Iran ceasefire by March 30th. Let's just see if it loads there. Uh, you know that it might help. I don't know. Like I feel like when you use AI, like if you at least provide it with a good data, that's what matters the most. Like if you just like straight out and you're just like, hey, how do I use the unusual whales prediction markets? I don't think that would help at all. Like if you sit, because like when I do my like nightly stuff, like obviously I don't sit and type up all that stuff. I pull all my information. I have my templates, so I have everything just kind of formatted on it. That's the only thing I really use AI for is the formatting, because I could not sit and type all that stuff up all night, but it's very accurate if you enter the correct data. Like if you're entering the proper data and telling it what to do and all that, I think that is your best chance to kind of do anything there. I was like, why did I just get a pin or a ping from Jay-Z? I was like, did Jay-Z ping me? Like, no. No, he didn't. Yeah, it's like I think it's good when it's if you enter the data correctly. Like if you're good at explaining things and kind of telling it what to input, I think it's good. But just like if you're just like, oh, can you teach me this? Like I don't trust that. Like I've tried it and like I've back tested it on something I knew and I'm like, yeah, that's not correct. But like if you enter the correct data and like explain stuff to it and pretty much teach it, that's when it becomes powerful there. I do not trust it for like just straight up data there, but it's really good for pulling info and kind of formatting stuff and all that, but it's kind of all I really use it for because I'm too fast of a typer. I cannot sit and type all that stuff all the time. I would be very frustrated and ugh. My type, I hit the wrong keys all the time. I am a very fast typer. All right, what are we doing here in the close here? Oh, so we did break those long calls actually there. Interesting. So we broke that 6600 coming in the last 5 minutes of the day. So we didn't go up anymore, which we expected there with the short calls kind of up there. I wonder if they'll bounce before close because you do have some short puts in there, and you got long calls again, which were um, kind of what we were looking for. That 6600 has the big spike of positive gamma there right now. Yeah, no, so tip it like when Periscope used to come when it came out, it didn't have this like that double thing, so I leave that positions on. So if you actually go over to, oh crap, all right, let's do it this way. So if you actually go over to the Periscope there in the market maker exposure, so this is how it would look like if you're just using that. I'd like to have the net premiums on with that, but this and you can edit this too, so you could put that positions on this one too. But like before, it was just that single kind of view there, and I would always just kind of come down here and look at that market maker positions here. Like this is this is essentially your blueprint for the day. So obviously a little late now, but like it's telling you they are long those calls there. There's 2261 of those 660 calls. They are long those calls, and market makers would essentially want those to be in the money, and price will typically gravitate towards that positive gamma. So like, oh, excuse me, this 6600 here. So yeah, when it's purple, let me see if I can find it on mine here. Of course not. Of course I can't when I want to show you. So like when it's purple there, let me see if I can find a good spot in here where it might be purple. So I'm not going to get a purple one. Purple essentially just means there is a significant change in the open interest. So like if you come up here and kind of look at your both here. So if that change is greater than 2000 or whatever for the gamma, it's going to do that. And then it's orange if it flips there. So like this flipped from positive to, or negative to positive there. So that's why that's orange there. Oh, we are selling off into close, aren't we? Little drop into close there. Just like to see how we finish there. Again, the 0 days they're you're not trading 2 minutes into the thing. Yeah, so those purple ones being like if you're looking at those there, like the end of the bar is where that gamma is. So that white dot there, that's where that gamma was in that previous 10 minutes. So it expanded that much further on that strike there. So 60, what is that? 65.90 maybe. I don't know. I can't hover over it on my thing, but it would just mean that negative gamma expanded there in that 10 minutes. And are you looking at the alls maybe? What time frame are you looking at here? Let's see, 5 minutes. Oh, you're looking at all 5 minutes. So why is it not showing for me? Interesting. I don't know why it's not showing for me. I would check your highlight settings. So like that's kind of what I have, and I've never switched these or anything that kind of told me to just let it kind of do its thing there. You might have a smaller range there, like if it's like 1,000 or something, that would make some sense there. Oh yeah, we are dropping hard into close here. So I mean, again, when we stalled at that 6600, so that's what that positive gamma does, but we did break through. I'm kind of surprised we broke through a little bit there, with that being long calls there. About what, 30 seconds to go, 10 seconds to go there. Yeah, that's we can touch on that in the live tomorrow a little bit more. That's kind of a whole nother thing there. That's it's a good tool. It's a good tool. I typically just kind of look at that daily gamma more so, but um, let's see. That DB flow. Where was that? Crap. It didn't really show big move there, but all right, everybody. Thank you for hanging out. We'll be back with one of these again tomorrow, and I will catch everybody else. Have a great rest of your afternoon.